Your words are spells. And when I say speak with authority, I'm not simply referring to speaking with confidence. I'm referring to speaking with being responsible when you speak. I'm referring to using discernment and clarity when you're communicating with others. Now, let me just issue a disclaimer. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be human, that you're not going to feel ranges of emotions, that you're not going to be angry sometimes, that you're not going to be frustrated, that sometimes your conversation may not be sweet and seasoned with honey, that sometimes it might just simply be echoed with sharpness. And that is okay, right? We're human and we are meant to experience the different ranges of who we are, and that includes emotions. But the point that I'm making here is too often we casually communicate with ourselves primarily, and then with others in a very irresponsible way. And what I mean by irresponsibly is we don't take heed to the words that are coming out of our mouths, how we speak. Are we speaking with a sense of confidence? Are we speaking from a place of defeat or lack or anything else that would not edify our new level or our growth in life or the things that we truly and deeply desire? And so when we refer back to the word being spells, like your words being spells, I think about the power of scriptural texts. If you look at the Bible, if you refer back to the Torah, if you refer back to the Quran, right, depending on what you believe, you will notice that there's always a reference about the word. There's a reference about the word, specifically in the Bible when we talk about John. It's in the book of John, the Gospel of John, right? It's also in Genesis 1:1 when we see God creating the world simply by the profession of the word. And then we refer back to Hebrews. It's also in Hebrews, I believe in Hebrews chapter 4, where again, God uses his word to form the world, and also to create influence, and also to create structure, and also to create order. And so that's not something that we should take lightly if we are made in the image of God and we have the ability to communicate, right? Which is why we're at the top of the animal kingdom. When we think about human beings, we have the ability to reason and we have the ability to communicate. And so it is important that we pay attention to the words that we speak and that we understand what we're speaking when we speak those things. Your words are spells. And if you think about the terminology spells, for some people it might freak you out, but for others it might be something. For me, for instance, it's easily digestible, because when your child is sick or when you are sick, what do you typically do, right? Do you hope that they get better? Do you wish that they get better? Or do you affirm that? Do you speak wellness and health back into their lives? It's the same for a situation you may be encountering within your life. Are you hopeful that it might get better? Are you wishing and crossing your fingers that it gets better? Or do you speak to that situation directly so that you can create that impact or the penetration of knowing that your word is powerful? Even I remember there being a reference in the Quran about the word being just like it's a sharp weapon. And so if this weapon is sharp, it can penetrate into atmospheres that would cause that atmosphere to change, that could cause that atmosphere to come about in a different way or create a different outcome. And so when I think about the terminology of spells, I see it as speaking for something to manifest. And so you can speak negatively or you can speak positively. And we both know that when we think about the word consequences is seen as something that is negative. But the truth is consequences exist based on decisions that we are making. It is the byproduct of a decision. So if you choose to maintain a healthy lifestyle, then the consequence of that is that you maintain healthy and fit and regulated, that your organs and your internal systems are operating in unison with one another, we hope, and that you are taking care of your well-being, right? Your internal vessel. It's the same thing if you are speaking confidently over a particular situation in your life. What you speak over that will ultimately determine the direction in which that situation may unfold. And so there is a discipline and there's an authority when it comes to speaking. And it is important that you're not casually casting your pearls before swine or casually saying things like, I'm broke, or I am tired, or whatever comes after the I am. It can literally make or break the inner vessel or the inner construction that you are creating. So be careful with that, even with your children, whether it be your pets, whether it be your loved ones, if you are in relationship with someone. How you speak and communicate really sets a tone of authority and confidence and reassurance, and again, perpetuating something that we would deem to be positive and uplifting, or are you doing the opposite of that? Because either way, you are speaking spells into the environment. And what you speak has to be thought about and to be mindful about it. And so the more you practice this, the much easier it becomes, because then you begin to discern how you communicate. And the communication ultimately starts with us. How do you speak to yourself in moments of frustration? How do you speak to yourself when something doesn't work out, or you make an error, or you make a mistake? Are you compassionate with yourself? Are you kind? Are you patient with yourself? Do you reaffirm yourself? Do you tap yourself or speak to yourself like, I can do it. I've done hard things before. I'm capable of doing hard things now. I'm not I'm not the last, I'm the first. I walk with the almighty power of the Most High God. Whatever that affirmation is for you, whatever that mantra is for you, whether you take it through meditative practices or whether you are praying, you summons that power back to you through the power of your word. And you may not be speaking audibly out loud, but sometimes it's the internal conversations that have the greatest impact, because what we see, again, with our physical eyes manifested in the physical world, is simply a direct reflection of our inner conversation, what we genuinely and truly believe about ourselves. So I would encourage you to speak with authority and to be mindful about what you speak. Do you speak that you are broke? Do you speak that you're overweight? Do you speak that I always forget things. I see people casually speak spells over themselves, not realizing that they are reaffirming something. And the more that happens with great feeling, the more that crystallizes and solidifies in your environment. So be careful about what you speak. Be careful about what you say about yourself and to yourself. And then taking it a step further, be careful about how you speak to those connected to you. Again, whether it be your children, your spouse, the partner that you're with, people that you work and interact with, be very careful. I've never met someone who gossips a lot and who's in mess that have aged really well. Like, miserable people tend to age not so great, or they tend to sort of look broken or like wrinkled and dried up. Whether young or old, there's just something there that's sort of, the light is dim and it feels like no one's home, because again, they're using their spoken word, their power, their ability to create, and they're using it for a not so great impact or a negative influence. And so you want to be careful about how you use your words, and you want to speak with authority. I made it a habit, and this was years ago, of when I don't feel well, that I don't say I am sick. I simply take the cues that my body's giving me, and then I take the necessary remedies to implement them, and then I get better or I feel better. But this idea that I am sick or I am tired. No, I just listen to my body and make the necessary adjustments. Now, it took a lot of practice. It had taken a lot of practice, but this is something that now I have on autopilot. So by the grace of God, I'm not easily influenced by what I feel or what I see. I simply just make the adjustments based on what's being communicated to me. And so your body's always speaking to you. This is sacred language. When you get a headache, when your stomach hurts, when something is off, see that as your body saying, hey, can you pay attention to this really quickly? Can we get this checked a little bit further? Can we slow down a bit? Just listen to your body. And I think that that's the first and primary universal natural language, is listening to ourselves. And the more we interact with the outside world, in the sense that we overconsume and overly scroll and overly binge watch and overly do anything that takes us further away from ourselves, it doesn't allow us to be in alignment with our word. So again, your words are spells. Take your words seriously. Be careful about what you speak over yourself. What do you speak over your children? Lay your hand on your children. Bless them. Cover them. Ask God to protect them, to keep them, to watch over them, that they make sound decisions, that their body be healthy from the crown of their heads to the soles of their feet, that they go into spaces that respect and see them and embody their greatness. Again, this is just an example, but you can do that with other areas of your life, your spouse, your partner, your coworkers. Some people need more praying for than they do need criticism. Some people need more compassion than they do criticism. And don't get me wrong, like, criticism, I understand that it can be the first like knee-jerk reaction when you're frustrated with someone or a circumstance, but it's not the most beneficial. So remember, things are constantly being circulated right back to you. So you want to be careful about the seeds that you plant, the things that you say, and how you interact with your environment. Now, again, does not mean that you need to be the good girl or the good boy and do everything right. That's not even a normal cadence of life, right? We are who we are. And in that, we try to find alignment and decency and order and respect for those around us and mankind, right? Like, if you're just a decent human being. But again, the idea is to be in relationship with yourself in such a way that you can catch yourself and audit what you're speaking, what you're doing, how you're interacting on a day-to-day basis, and calling your power back to yourself. Speak with authority. You don't like something that's going on in your life? Speak over that. Pray over that. Declare what you want it to be. You don't like how you're feeling? Speak over that. Declare what you want it to be, right? Change and turn that situation around with the power of your word. Okay, in the beginning was the word. All right, and the word was with God, and the word was God. So we want to be mindful about how we interact with the physical world, because we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, not physical beings having a spiritual experience. I hope I said that correctly. We're spiritual beings. And we're just interacting with the physical universe and the physical world. We want to be careful that we stay grounded in our spiritual and sacred practices that lead us constantly back to ourselves. I always say, pay attention to nature. There is no force in nature, and there's a grand respect for the flow of things. And so as you speak, flow with goodness, flow with discernment, flow with clarity, flow with intention, flow with audacity and confidence. And the days that you don't feel 100, it's okay. Give it the 70% that you have. Give it the 60 that you have. But your words are spells. So speak with authority, speak with clarity, speak with confidence, speak with compassion, not only to yourself, but those around you. I hope that made sense. Again, I know that we all believe different things. I reference biblical scripture because that is my foundation. That is what I most resonate with. But you might reference something else that you are more in line with as you feel at this point in your life. And I wholeheartedly respect that. So again, nobody gets left behind when it comes to enlightening ourselves and being mindful about how we can live better lives and make wiser decisions and concretely get what we desire or our heart's desire. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for tuning in once again. If you want any resources, just check the description below. I look forward to connecting with you next time. I'm Demi DeVati. I'll see you soon. Thank